I can't believe I'm live. I am so right now. Hello, people. Me
Hello.
and it's Amy, and I'm so freaking like I don't know. After this affidavit came out, I feel like there's more speculation, and I feel like people aren't listening to what they're reading or hearing. Like people are saying stuff that wasn't in the affidavit, just saying that it was, but they took something and misunderstood it or turned it around, and now it's rumors flying around. And it's I was
Oh,
listening to
damn.
Dolly. He said, I even wrote it down. I'll tell you what he said.
Oh, Lord.
Ellie lied to everyone about this case. I no longer support LE. That's what his words were. I freaking wrote them down.
Lied about what? They didn't lie?
Everything because they didn't say like they didn't come out with everything. Um, like they think that whatever the information law enforcement did give was like they already knew about it, or they already knew where the car was, asking if we knew anything about a car to keep us off the case. You know what I mean? Looking for this fucking white car everywhere when they already knew what they were doing. That's not lying. That's making sure
Right.
that they're going to be
I mean,
able.
that's giving, like, well, I guess it was kind of like a way of also kind of alerting the public. Like, because listen, if you're like chilling at your house and it's like 2 a.m., you're watching Netflix and you see a white Elantra pull up to your house, at that moment, you would have been like, nah, fuck this. Like, so it was kind of a way of also alerting the public. You know what I mean? Like, you could look at it that way. They didn't
Yeah.
lie. That was the only truth they gave. That the only thing they gave that was like
But
definite.
they did say that the community wasn't in harm's way, that the community was safe. Is that
Right.
because they had him pinned already? Like they knew every move he
Sounds
made
like
when they
it.
made that statement? Because if not, that could have been considered a lie.
Yeah.
Saying
Well,
that the
yeah.
community has nothing to worry about if they didn't know who he
Yeah,
was.
they
And
went back and forth a couple of times, but yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's definitely him because there's I
oh
mean,
yeah,
unless it was like his dad or something, but other than that, it's someone in that family clearly.
yeah, I can't see the dad doing it. Sorry. But do you want to read the affidavit or do you just want to talk about it?
We can read it again. I got to pull it up on my phone though because I couldn't read it off my computer earlier.
Well, can you hold
Oh
on?
wait, maybe I can see on yours.
I tried to make it
Yeah,
big
yours is
enough so
better.
you can see it.
Yeah, if I make and then I can make my screen bigger.
My big, hey, free
Okay.
side, hey, never silent, hey, October 50 baby, hey,
So the
buddy.
below, let's see.
Are you going to read it?
Yeah, should I just read the whole thing like as is?
Yeah, but you're going to
Because I
have to
only
read
read through
it.
like the first 3 pages on my live, and then I was like, and then so I left out a lot, and I was like, okay, I should have read the whole thing.
Yeah,
All right,
if
let's
you
go.
can read
It's
it, go
19
ahead.
pages. I don't think I had 19. I think I only read half. Okay, so the below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is duly appointed, qualified and acting peace officer of the county of state of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CPL Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So on November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blacker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter going to be referred to as the King Road residence. I like how they say that too. To assist with the scene security and processing of crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police ISP forensic team was on the scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. The MPD officer, Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building, so the sliding doors. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me towards the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor. Trigger warning, which
Is
I
it
later learned.
scrolling?
Yeah, it's scrolled.
Okay.
Which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Knoedl's, hereafter Knoedl's room. Before this room was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Knoedl's. Knoedl's? Laying on the floor, Knoedl was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was deceased with wounds later determined, and then the next page is redacted. I think those were defensive wounds, but
Absolutely
we don't
ones
know.
that we can't know about.
Right. And then it says, the following Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consists of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonsalves's, can be referred to as her last name. I later learned from the review of the Officer Nunez body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her boyfriend Jack D. I found out from my interview with Jack D on November 13th that he and Gonsalves shared the dog. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's, hereafter Mogan's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered the bedroom, again, trigger warning, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side, which viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, suspect profile, left on the bottom snap of the knife sheath. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence.
Oops.
There you go.
Did I go too far? No.
Okay, yeah, no, you're good. Based on the numerous interviews conducted by the MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI, as well as my reviews of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, 2022, Chapin and Knoedl were seen by BF at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus, at the address of that, from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. BF also estimated that approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Knoedl returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live at the King Road residence, but was a guest of Knoedl's. Gonsalves and Mogan were at the local bar, the Corner Club, 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan had been seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. on November 12th and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Gonsalves and Mogan had been seen on a video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams videos on their food truck on a streaming platform, Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, Blank, reported that he provided the ride to Gonsalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms, by 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Keep that in mind. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from the forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could also have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. DM stated that she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated that she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17, a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times. Ugh, so sad. Scroll.
Sorry, I was writing notes to talk about.
You're good. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the cry and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure at 5'10" or taller, male and not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investors to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phones, and video of suspect video, as described below, leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP, Idaho State People's forensic team, by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type sole, just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. Again, located on the second floor. This is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to as law enforcement as video canvass, was conducted of the area of King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods, in an effort to locate the suspect or suspect vehicles traveling or leaving the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in a collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected, and I have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of the Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. In this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of the footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of the suspect vehicle, one starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leaves via the Walenta Drive. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, quiet, Siri. Playing crickets. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walena Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and the review of camera footage in the
You
neighborhood.
missed the whole paragraph.
Wait, where?
Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time. This is when it happens.
Oh, my bad. You scrolled while I was looking at my watch. Okay. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time. So this is where I stopped. Approximately 4:04 a.m. and it can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appears to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. This fool's a dork. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again towards Queen Road. This fool's confused. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walena Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect 1 vehicle during the time frame. I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive, and I'm not even trying to say that, these streets out there in Moscow, and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years in law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses the database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2001 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. Or Hyundai. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of the vehicle that it is a 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Blah, blah, blah. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra shown as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on the Wasu surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. SR 270 connects to Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 to 2016 Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, on the Wasu campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way and Cougar Way. This guy's just like driving everywhere. Depiction showing Moscow and Pullman. It's weird. Not the best map.
Can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see.
It says, where are we?
This is Northeast Valley Road, this rectangle.
Okay.
Do you see a red rectangle, a red triangle? Oh, right here.
Is
White
that it?
Elantra seen returning to WSU campus. This is the university.
Yeah, and that's like
And
multiple
a
times.
yellow, and this triangle right here, white Elantra seen wait. Okay, this yellow right here is the Elantra seen leaving the campus, and this triangle right here is seen returning to campus. Arrows are camera locations and indicate vehicle direction of travel. So he was going this way, he was going north towards the university, and then he was going this way out of the town. I'm guessing is what they're trying to say.
And then on November 25th, the MPD asked the area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for the white Elantra in the area on November 29th. At approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University police officer Daniel Tiango queried white Elantra is registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate. This vehicle is registered to Bryan Kohberger, hereafter Kohberger, residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way last camera located that picked up the white Elantra. The same day at approximately 12:58 a.m., WASU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for a white Hyundai Elantra, and located the 2015 white Elantra at the 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in a parking lot. The 1630 Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU students. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. This license indicates that Kohberger is a white male with a height of 6 feet and weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. Further investigation, including the review of Leda County Sheriff Deputy CPL Duke's body cam and report, shows that on August 21st of 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho, by CPL Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Elantra with Pennsylvania plate, which was set to expire on November 30th of 2022. During the stop, which was recorded via a law enforcement body camera, Kohberger provided his phone number as, and hereafter the 848 or 8458 phone, as a cellular phone number. The investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone number is a number issued by AT&T. On October 14th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop at Washington State University police officer, by a Washington State University police officer. Upon review of the body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant and was driving the white 2015 Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFC 8649 on November 18th, 2022. According to Washington State Licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received Washington plate CFB 87808. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my own experience and communication with the Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed.
Do you want me to read some more, or you got it?
Yeah, you can read a little bit.
Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th, 2022 by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado, information provided by a query to a database. Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15th, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. On December 16th, 2022 at approximately 2:26 p.m., surveillance video shows Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Kohberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through a TLO search and locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in his essay he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence. I don't like my mouth. On November 13th, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., after determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 White Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant The investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone in these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Based on my training, experience, and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime or turn their telephone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime was committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, suspects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this could be done a few days before or for several months prior to the commission of a crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual would not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th, 2022 at 12 a.m. and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider AT&T approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that 8458 phone is subscribed to Bryan Kohberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June 23rd, 2022. These records also included historical cell site location information, CSLI, for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI CAST SA that I consulted with has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12th, 2022 to November 13th, 2022, the time period authorized by the court. On November 13th at approximately 2:42 a.m., the 8458 phone was utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment G201, Pullman, Washington, hereafter the Kohberger residence. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage southeast at the Kohberger residence, consistent with the 8458 phone, leaving the Kohberger residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the White Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or that the phone is turned off. The 8458 phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., at which time it utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to I- Idaho State Highway 95 south of Moscow, Idaho, near Blaine, Idaho. Between 4:50 a.m. and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95 to Guinness, Idaho, then traveling west. You then traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back into Pullman, Washington. At approximately 5:30 a.m., the 8458 phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage to Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling back to the Kohberger residence. The 8458 phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that is observed traveling north on Stadium Drive at approximately 5:27 a.m. Based on the review of the 8458 phone's estimated locations and travel, the 8458 phone's travel is consistent with that of the White Elantra. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, 2022, that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of Kohberger's residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residents between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. The 8458 phone next utilized cellular resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling back to the area of Coburg residents and arriving at the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based off of cellular site locations. So this is the possible route based off of cellular device locations of when he committed the crime. And if you ask me, that knife is somewhere around that yellow trail right there. Investigators found that the 8458 phone did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, 2022, but investigators do not believe the 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. Found that it did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, but investigators do not believe the 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. The 8458 phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Why do you not believe that the phone was in Moscow if it's bouncing off of a Moscow cell phone tower? Sorry, I'm writing it down. I'm writing down everything that I have questions about the affidavit. Hey, everybody. Based on any training, experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Kohberger, the user of the 8458 phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, and the lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. On December 23rd, 2022, I was granted a search warrant for Kohberger's historical CSLI from June 23rd, 2022 to current, prospective location information, and a PIN registered trap and trace on the 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to the offense. Conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims associated associates before or after the alleged offense. Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13, 2022, the location of the white and launcher registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to the search warrant, I received historical records for the 8458 phone from AT&T from the time the account was opened in June 2022. After consulting with CAST SA, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from June 2022 to present, the time period authorized by the court. The records for the 8458 phone show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th, 2022. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. On these occasions, on August 21st, one of these occasions on August 21st, 2022, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Kohberger was stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke, as mentioned above. The 8458 phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time, Farm Road and Pullman Highway. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources November 13, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewistown, Idaho via U.S. Highway 195. At approximately 12:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee and coffee stand located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef store located at 820 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington, and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe showed a white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1 drive past Kate's Cup of Joe at a time consistent with the cellular data from the 8458 phone. This is getting confusing. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of the Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1 at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance camera shows Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Kohberger's possible path of travel is depicted below, not to scale. Additional analysis of records for the 8458 phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The 8458 phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the 8458 phone being the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred. Johnson, Idaho. So he didn't want to be found, obviously, after, because he must have been ditching the knife. On December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Based on the information above, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth 11/21/1994, for burglary at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. I declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. Dated on 12/29/2022. Officer number 157. Amy, are you here? Amy, where are you? Let's talk about this. Okay, chaotic.
I'm here. Sorry, wrong mute button. Hold on.
I just saw chaotic. I wasn't looking at chat whenever hold on a second. That was a lot to read,
Hello,
eh?
everybody. Yeah, it's a lot of pages.
So I have a lot of notes.
Okay, let's go off your notes. I have none.
I want to wait for chaotic to come here. She's getting a drink and a snack. Hey, everybody that's still in here with us. I appreciate you for sticking around for that long thing, but it explained a lot and also left a lot of questions.
Right.
My baby girl is sleeping. She's snoring.
I mean, I feel for the room, like, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of questions, like, because it said that they were, the police, I don't know.
You know what I'm
Didn't
doing?
they say that they said they were downstairs asleep? But I guess they didn't say that, right? We just assumed it.
So the only one downstairs asleep was Bethany. Dylan lived on the second floor.
Okay.
Was
So
Xana.
he saw her and just was like, unless maybe he was like in such a hurry that he didn't even really see her. You know what I mean? Like,
There she is.
there's a chance of that.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I waited to come in until you were almost done reading it because I've heard about 50 people read it at this
I
point.
know, right?
I was like, I can't listen to this again. I don't know. Ask specific questions. I'll tell you what I think because I already did like one whole show on this and
Okay, well, the thing with Dylan, because that's the thing I wrote down first. So people are saying Dylan's in on it or Dylan knows, and then people are saying she didn't know Bryan, like she was just in shock and didn't know what to do. And no, not that she was in shock and didn't know what to do. When she saw Bryan or this person, she froze in the doorway.
I think that she's young. I don't think she knew the extent of what happened. I don't think she knew Bryan. I think that she probably did freeze, and when she finally kind of snapped out of that state, she went in her room, locked the door, probably hid, probably ended up falling asleep hiding, if I had to guess. Because, I mean, when you get in a fear state like that, it wears you down very quickly. And we don't know what her like activities were that day or evening, so
Okay, so this is my thing. The first time she opens the door, she thought she heard Kay playing with Murphy. So when she opens the door the first time, she thought she heard Kay playing with the dog and she saw nothing. So she closes the door and looks out her window. Then the second time she opens the door, she hears crying, but she also hears a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'll help you," thinking Xana was upset. And Ethan was comforting her, is what I'm getting out of what she heard.
possibly. Or she thought that it was a different guy there with one of the other girls.
If she heard this person speaking, don't you think she would know if she recognized the voice or not?
Depends on how deep that trauma runs. You gotta realize what she's seen the next day. A normal traumatic response is to block it out. And if she's the same one that found them the next day and ran out and passed out, her trauma response is pretty strong.
Okay, I get those two. What I don't get is the third time she opened the door. There was the van's footprint left at her door. She was at her door watching this man to where she could describe him to a T,
Mm-hmm.
to his bushy eyebrows and everything.
I mean, I don't consider those bushy eyebrows. I think it was shadowing and less face being shown so they appeared thicker because he has extremely hooded eyes. But that's my opinion. I don't think they're that bushy.
Oh,
I think
well,
they're pretty normal for any male.
Law enforcement agreed with Dylan, so I don't know. I didn't look at his eyebrows that good. I was trying to find his bushy hair. I was trying to see how that looked and everything. But so she sees this unknown male dressed in all black with a mask on. So this man, if he leaves the knife sheath in the third floor by Maddie, he's got to be carrying the knife in his hand, right? Where else would he put
No,
the knife so he don't cut himself?
no, it was lost upstairs by the two girls. It was underneath one of them.
The sheath, the cover for the knife, but not the knife itself.
No, the knife's not there. They already
Right.
said
So
they
what
haven't
I'm
found it.
is if she saw him leaving the house, where would he have hid the knife if it didn't have the protection cover to cover it?
I mean, he's 6
Type
foot
of-
tall and men's pockets are much larger. So, I mean, and like, we don't know, like, was he in a hoodie? I'm assuming so. I mean, and realistically, like, he wasn't trying to come off suspicious at all. He literally just walked towards her and then went out the door calmly. So, I mean, is that really going to raise alarms in the middle of the night? Why did all my lights just get really bright?
But then you have to think, why did he walk towards her and spare her life?
Well, I mean, he had to go that way to get to the kitchen.
So do you think he saw her?
Oh, I 100% think he saw her. I think he intentionally left a witness because he thinks that he's smarter than most people and he's out to prove himself. And I don't think that there was enough of him uncovered that the normal person would recognize someone. But I also don't think he planned on there being a male there, and I think that threw his whole thing off.
Do you think that's why? Apparently, I believe from reading the affidavit that since they didn't want to describe Ethan's injuries as just knife wounds or whatever, they redacted all of that. There's a reason for that. For some reason, to make that makes me believe that he had it worse. Is it because
I think he was spooked by him and there was a big altercation, and so his injuries probably are worse.
Out of anger because he didn't realize that he had to now kill this man?
Well, anger, but also you've got a decent sized young guy that you have to defend yourself against too. It's not just attacking a girl in bed anymore.
Right. So then I have a question. So it said that everybody went to sleep by 4:00. Everybody went in their rooms and did whatever, went to sleep or did whatever they were going to do. How did she know that they went to sleep at 4 if she was asleep at 4? Because at 4 is when she woke up because she heard Kay playing with her dog. She said she was asleep. And then she heard Kay playing with her dog. And then she opened,
Didn't she say that she got woke up to what she thought was the dog playing?
Right. Yeah, she was asleep and she got woken up.
I mean, maybe she maybe she looked at her phone. That's like the first thing I do anytime I wake up. Middle of the night, middle of the day, doesn't matter. It's always check my phone and make sure that.
But how can she say that they all went to sleep at 4 o'clock? She knows they all went to bed at 4 o'clock or in their room at 4 o'clock. How does she know that if she was already asleep at 4 o'clock?
She may have heard them come in, but they were there before that. But there was the DoorDash call. Did DoorDash ever arrive?
Yeah, it said in the affidavit that they did clear the DoorDash driver. Because at first I was like, well, maybe DoorDash left the food at the door. He saw this and that was an attempt for him to get in the house. But obviously that's not what happened. But
That
so
sounds like she's not a heavy sleeper, anyways.
that's what leads me to my next question. The neighbor house, I don't know how far it is from this house, but their cameras, I don't know if it was just cameras mounted on their house or a ring cam from across the street, picked up audio on their camera of voices talking, a thud, and a dog barking. But Dylan heard none of that?
Hang on. What page is that on?
Oh, let me see. I was just writing it down as we were going through it. Let me see. Oh, the neighbor and the thud. Hold on. Can't you like search for words on this thing?
Let's see.
Okay,
Okay, went to sleep.
Okay, at approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112.
Okay, I have it.
1122. You got it?
Yeah, page 4.
A resident.
Okay, so to go, hang on. Home by 2. DoorDash. Yeah, so she probably heard
that, Dave.
She probably heard the DoorDash, but because I just seen that part too. Okay.
So you think she woke up from the DoorDash guy and then heard the dog? I don't know where Amy went. You see what I'm talking about, the neighbors?
Yeah. The dog barking at 4:17. Oh, it's less than 50 feet from her bedroom, so that's not that weird at all.
But how far is Dylan's bedroom from where it happened? Less than 50 feet.
Well, you got to go through a ceiling and then diagonal.
Well, no, she was on the same floor as Ethan and Xana. She lived on the second floor.
Yeah, but the dog was upstairs. That's what I'm saying. He would have been upstairs at that point. That was all when he was upstairs. Because the dog was upstairs. The dog was locked in the other girl's room, and both the girls were in another room when officers arrived. So the dog was on the 3rd floor.
Yes, and the dog was on the 3rd floor when the officers arrived.
So, I mean, she heard the dog. She admitted to that. She heard the thud. She admitted to that. She said that she heard someone whining. So, I mean, she heard everything that the camera heard.
I didn't see that she heard a thud.
Yeah, it's... Hang on. I gotta find it. Hopefully you guys can't hear me eating. If you can, I'm sorry.
No, all I hear is papers turning. 3 Dave, come up. Amy must have had to leave because of her kids.
Mm.
Law enforcement would put witnesses on blast. 3. Dave says the affidavit seems suspect to him. It's strange that law enforcement would put witnesses on blast. It seems odd. Yeah, I know you're tired because you in everybody else's life, and I've been telling you hi, and you ain't even noticed me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, her name's already out there. Both of their names were already out there.
And everybody knows
it
their
would-
witnesses.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, they used initials, but it wouldn't have mattered if they left the names and everybody already knew who they were.
But I don't know. I don't know how they put them on blast because they need to know what they experienced in the house in order to put it on the affidavit in order to be able to get him, charged.
I mean, if it was a witness that didn't live in that house, then I would understand a little more, but
You
okay.
I've never seen that 3. Dave. Thank you. I'll believe you this time. So do you believe Dylan knows nothing about this?
Yeah, I don't think she knows anything other than what she's seen and even then it's going to be what she remembers that wasn't blocked out by the trauma.
Thank you, 3. Dave. You will be friends
Okay.
with all of my people.
Bottom of page 4, DM stated she opened her door for the 3rd time after she heard the crying and saw a figure. So maybe she just heard the crying, but I mean, I would assume that she would have heard the thud if she heard the crying.
I know exactly though, but if
You
she
do
would have
realize that they're not going to put everything in this though, right? They only have to put enough in here to get a warrant. And the only reason this one's as detailed as it is over others is because you have to have more to do a nighttime warrant for safety reasons. So you have to prove a bigger case for a night warrant versus a day warrant, but you still don't have to put everything out there.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't because you can't put everything out before the trial.
Yeah, you only have to put enough in to convince the judge to sign for the warrant. So, and I mean, where you're talking about statements that came from hysterical girls that had just seen all of this. So I'm sure that like they were babbling, like we've all heard about the 911 call. One's passed out and the other one's hyperventilating and could barely speak. So
Right, they called their friends before they called 911.
People passing by stopped when the one girl passed out. And then I think one of them knew them and they called the friends. But they were using the girl's phone that lived there.
Okay.
So and I don't think that like when those people called friends, I don't think they did it in malicious intent. I don't think they knew what was going on inside the house because those 2 girls couldn't speak. You know what I mean? So I think they knew them and they knew like other friends or family members or whatever in the area. And that's why they called those people, because you got to remember Ethan's siblings were called too. I don't think anyone meant to call them for them to see what happened. Or anything like that. I think they legitimately had no idea what was going on because the 2 girls couldn't communicate properly. Because they only seen one, but they knew there was 4 people in the house still.
So when they called 911, they just called 911 because she passed out. They didn't know there were dead people in the house, is what you're saying?
Right. So the first girl ran out and the second one was behind her. As soon as she got outside, she fainted. The other girl picked up the phone and was trying to communicate. People were going by, seen it, and stopped to check on her. And because the other girl couldn't get out what she was trying to say, they just kind of pieced together the words that she did say. And that's how the story came about that someone was passed out in the house. Like they had no idea what was going on. And then I think somewhere along the line, somebody said something about the girl pointed to the house, and someone did actually go in. One of their friends, or a couple of them maybe, did go in the house, but they didn't go through the whole house. Like once they seen part of the scene, they also went back outside. And that's what I'm saying. Like those names that went in the house after the 911 call, they're not in here either. So, but if you look at like the list of gag order, or not gag order, the list of no contact orders that was put in place today, that's a long list. That's not just family.
On the police report log for that day, hold on. It shows the time and all, but it shows shit. I can't click the right button. I'm using my laptop mouse because my other mouse, I forgot to charge it. But it shows the 911 call was for a homicide, not for a passed out person. That's why I don't understand.
No, it's been changed. It originally said for a passed out person. And then even then, when they got there, they were informed that someone was on the ground and there was blood, but they didn't know at that point what the situation was. And I think they've went back and edited it for homicide, or someone else called after they had went in the house.
So they can change activity logs to a different
They can change anything. Plus, once they got there, they would have called and reported as what it was anyway. So dispatch still would have had that, but it would have been coming from dispatch to dispatch. See what I'm saying? Because we pulled it last time I was on here, and I don't remember what it said then, but because you had thought that the time was different, but it was actually the call after it or something that.
Right, but I don't remember about the.
I can't remember what it said. Talk was gag order. Yeah, there was a gag order set in place before, but then today they put in place all of the no contact orders. And all of those people on the public release of it are done with initials, so.
But everybody knows who they are.
Well, we don't know who all of them are, because that's way more than just family members and the two surviving girls. So, I mean, it's a long list.
That's making me mad. I can't find it.
Is it one that? Oh, I thought you were talking about your mouse.
Oh no, I think I found it. Hold on.
Well, the affidavit was sealed until he got there and was served with it.
And everybody knew that. Everybody couldn't wait for him to go in front of the judge.
They would have just taken it to court anyways, and it would have got unsealed. So it's the same thing that just happened in another case. They tried to have it sealed. It lasted for like 10 days until they went back to court for it. Because legally, there is no rights for them to have an affidavit sealed. They can seal other records, but legally speaking, they don't have a right to have a sealed affidavit. Not for a warrant. Not saying that I always agree with it being made public. I'm just saying, like, legally, it won't ever stand in place long.
F. November 14th. No, it would have been the 13th.
Yeah, it was
No, it
the
would have been the
13th.
14th.
It was the night of the 12th into the 13th.
I was thinking 13th, 14th. No wonder why I can't find anything. Is Dave still in here?
I don't know. Maybe. He posted 4 minutes ago. Or no, he posted 3 minutes ago.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I just know I saw it on the Monday. Hold on. All right. I think this is it right here. For some reason, I kept thinking it was
Probably because most people keep just talking about the 13th.
okay. So on here, they don't have unconscious person. Hold on. You're here. I got your message, Brenna. All right. Can you see it? No, you cannot see it. There, now we can see it. Can y'all see it? Can y'all read it?
Right now, you're looking at a controlled substance.
Right. So you have control. So let's see. You have narcotic search, then you have controlled substance problem, and then you have homicide. 1100 block. And then you have suspicious person, welfare check, theft. There's nothing about unconscious person.
But that's what I'm saying. Dispatch still would have had control of that. It could have changed at any point. When officers arrived, and you know how when an officer arrives, they usually still have you on the phone with dispatch, and then officers start talking to dispatch and updating them or running names. Dispatch would have probably updated it.
I didn't know you can do
once
that.
they went in the house. Yeah, I mean, they have the system. They have it open the entire time until the officers basically clear the scene. Like, there's a specific dispatch attached to that.
See, I thought like if there were, so you're saying there was one call, the initial call, well, the first part of the call was calling 911 about an unconscious person. And while they're still on the phone with 911 till law enforcement shows up, and
Right.
then law enforcement
lets dispatch know that they're on scene, and that's when dispatch interacts with law enforcement from that point on.
Okay, so I assumed that, never mind, because it's one call.
Right.
I thought like it had to be documented as there was a call for unconscious person, and then another post of the homicide. But I guess I understand what you're saying now. I just don't see. That's the thing. That was like, where did it say that someone was passed out? Where did that come from?
It was like when it was initially reported, and people who reported the 911 call. They didn't play it because it hasn't been made public. But it is one of the bigger actual factual channels. I can't remember, but then I've heard it on like a couple other ones too. And then I want to say I'd have to go back through everything from the beginning.
I know it's a damn mess. This is like, and let me tell you, I know people on YouTube and social media always bash the police and, the FBI or whatever for not doing enough or not doing enough fast enough. Reading that affidavit, they worked their ass off. That guy that wrote that affidavit worked his ass off. They worked from day one. They knew who it was. They just had to be able to prove it and to follow him while they were proving it, because you just can't arrest someone for 4 first-degree murders the second day or whenever you find out who it is, um, without, I mean, you can't, especially if you're going to go after the death penalty. You just can't, you have nothing to charge the dude with. And in order to get the first degree, well, you have theft. I mean, burglary, the burglary charge. But I think they wanted to have all their ducks in a row, their I's dotted and their T's crossed, and that's exactly how I felt about it. But everybody else was like, they not doing their job. They don't know nothing yet. They're not saying anything yet. But it's just like the Kali Ronnie cases, because social media gets so involved, and then family members get contacted or attacked, and stuff like that happens. But that's why that they're being so hush hush. And especially, I think after the Georgia incident, people, law enforcement in other areas know about this. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if every freaking case that shows up like this is going to be hush hush and very little information put out. And I don't know. I haven't been here that long for that many cases, but I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I see both sides of it. And 3 Dave, the 911 call wouldn't be in the affidavit. It would be in
Evidence.
Well, it'd be in evidence now, but it would have originally been in the like case investigation report when they first opened it. But you don't need a 911 call to get a warrant, because he wasn't mentioned during the 911 call. So the 911 call kind of doesn't matter when it comes down to getting the arrest.
I really don't expect to hear the 911 call until the trial. And I was going to say this earlier, like, I just wanted to get this read and get other people's opinions on it, because I'm just like, woo woo, all over the place. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. I'm trying to understand everything in this affidavit. It's a lot of information. But after this, I believe that Christy, aka Stonegater, will wait until the trial to get any more information or to speak any more about this case, because there's nothing more that we need to find out.
Well, you probably won't get any information for a week anyways.
It's like, to me, and hopefully everyone else, there's the only thing I'm afraid of is like the Casey Anthony case. All you need is one juror to have doubt. And if law enforcement puts out all the information we want, that's hindering the trial and you know what I mean? Like, we can't give the defense everything handed to them to, you know what I mean, to create a defense that against the prosecutors. We
Well,
can't hand up.
it wasn't all the stuff being leaked out in Casey Anthony that got her off. It was her manipulation of the jury and being able to turn on and off tears. And
Right, and that's what I'm thinking about this guy, because he has a degree in psychology. Like,
yeah,
he's
gonna try and be like, look, he's trying to be like Bundy. He even acted that way, being transported and sitting there. He's going to try and manipulate people in another way, but it's not a way that, like, there's not going to be the tears shed. I don't think he'll take the trial or the stand either.
There's probably something that they're going to put on the table to take the death penalty off and just give him life. You think that would happen?
What'd you say? Sorry, I was reading comment.
Instead of it going all the way to trial, if he just pleads to like the murders, but tells them everything and gets life, and pleads guilty and gets life instead of death, if he's open, or a lesser sentence if he does this or does that.
I don't think that's what he's after. I think he's after the fame and notoriety that comes with a case like this. So I think that's why he's mimicked a lot of different killers And like it's like little things with other ones, but there's a lot of the Bundy things. Um, and if the rumors are true, as far as like him talking about unaliving himself, which is why he was in the turtle suit, he doesn't care at this point if they put him down. Right now, he's trying to play the game of, am I smarter than them? That's the game he's playing.
He obviously knows he's going to be convicted because aren't you only exonerated if you're convicted of a crime?
Yeah, I think that was just poor terminology, but I don't know. I don't get the narrative. It seems like it's too much info. Well, there's a lot they didn't put in there, but again, because normally you can't serve a nighttime warrant, it has to be between 6 a.m. and whatever time that area states. I think most of them are like before dark, because there's higher risk factors when you go into a house of, sleeping people or dangerous people or whatever unexpected in the middle of the night. There's a higher risk with that. So they have to prove more. They have to prove more reason to get a night warrant versus a day warrant.
According to the sheriff, I think it was, that said that they busted out like a lot of windows and doors.
Yeah, I think the last I seen was 5, but I don't know if there was more than that or not. It was Bryan's mom that I guess had it posted, but I think it was something one of his sisters had actually wrote about the Ted Bundy thing, I believe.
It was his mom. Do you think that he will represent himself like Bundy?
I think we'll find out really soon, but I don't think he's that brave.
I was thinking maybe that's why he has a public defender. Because he's not going to waste any money on
Well, he wouldn't have hired a lawyer yet anyways, because when they go in, I mean, you have a certain amount of time to hire one. So you automatically get handed one. And then because there was, jurisdiction changes, that comes into play. Like, I probably wouldn't have hired a lawyer just to sign a paper to be extradited. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about
and then now that he's out there, like he was only there, 12 hours before court, maybe 16.
Yeah.
So I would say, because he's got court again next week, and then I don't know what the other dates they set were. There will be some continuances in there. But, I mean, we may know next week if he's going to hire a lawyer. He may wait even longer just to see. It just kind of, a lot of it, I think, is going to depend on what mommy and daddy's going to pay for him. Because realistically, I doubt he actually has a lot of money.
I just hope it doesn't. If he represents himself, I just hope to God it does not turn out to be a Daryl Brooks trial.
And it may come down to if this public defender impresses him or not, or if he has an issue with, a female representing him or whatever. Like, there's so many things that could come into play at this point.
Bryan's mother's full name with middle talked about how cruel it was to celebrate Ted Bundy's death. Can we celebrate your son's death? Will that be cruel, lady?
I mean, really, is anybody actually celebrating his death other than possible family members?
Like
I don't think that's really a thing that people do. Like, I mean, I'm sitting in a room filled with hundreds, if not pushing 1,000 or more serial killer books. Like, I'm not celebrating their birthdays. Now, do I occasionally make a post that just happens to fall and line up with their birthday? Yeah, sure I do. But it's a post. It's not me celebrating them. It's a touchy subject anyways, because, like, and luckily I've got really thick skin. a lot of people even have issues with us even talking about them. But at the end of the day, it's history. History repeats itself. If you don't figure out why things happen, you're never going to ever become close to stopping it. It's only going to continue to get worse and evolve. That's just my input on it.
That is true.
But I agree with you. I mean, I guess she's going to have a real, like, I guess she's not going to celebrate her son's anything. And, like, celebrating his death, like, yeah, there was a lot of people out there hollering, but, like, how many times was he going to escape? And, I mean, I don't think anybody should celebrate anybody's death, but.
Well, I mean, family members and stuff, like if they have a memorial or not celebrate, but like a memorial or a get together or whatever to celebrate the life, maybe, on the anniversary. But like, are they saying like celebrating because he's dead? Like, okay, I don't know anybody that's done that, and I've never heard of that for any serial killer.
Full name with middle.
That just means that she did write it.
Yeah, but I think it came out that her daughter actually wrote it. She just was the one titled on it. But I could be wrong. I can check on it again. But I don't know. I just, at the end of the day, people have a right to whatever they feel is best. And if they were someone that was hurt, then yeah, they, not everybody can forgive. You know what I mean? Some people can, even though they never forget. Others can't. Like, let people mourn and do whatever they want.
Hi, Sane and Sane. I'm so glad to see you in here.
I mean, I'm sure she'll cry if Bryan gets sentenced like that and it actually happens.
Well, of course she's gonna cry.
But I'm sure that, like, the victims' families will probably kind of celebrate in their own way, whether it's in the street hollering like they did with Bundy or they do it privately at their home. But it's nobody's business at the end of the day, really. That's just my opinion, though.
Well, I mean, they are a serial killer psychological criminology family, right?
A lot of
What
them
they do.
working. Yeah. Some, not all, I don't think.
I mean, our moms might not put that article in the newspaper, but we're talking about someone who was obsessed with serial killers and just committed a quadruple homicide. So maybe his mom is the type of mom that would put that kind of stuff out there. I mean, just because ours wouldn't doesn't mean there's not that one crazy person that's a substitute teacher.
I mean, look, I wrote papers in college that if they ever wanted to publish them, I would let them publish them. You know what I mean? Like, things are wrote because that's how people feel, and some people are going to agree with her and some wouldn't. Just like social media, some people agree with us, some people don't.
Yeah, there's never going to be anything that everybody agrees on. There's going to always be different opinions, but you have to be able to work your opinions out like you and I do, and not like go off on a tangent and go crazy and argue and stuff like that. Like that's what I always say on Laura's panel too, or wherever I go. Like, nobody's gonna, even if we both agreed on a lot of things, I'm sure there's something, and there was something. There's something that we don't agree on, and I like to listen to other people's opinion because maybe I might hear something from you that might change my mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like to hear how other people feel about it because I could possibly learn something I didn't know that could possibly change my mind.
I mean, even you take me and take my whole group of friends that, like, did psychology classes or criminology classes or criminal justice classes or whatever they may be, right? And you put us all in a room and we're talking about a case. Do you think that all of us are going to agree? Absolutely not.
No way.
Even though we have the same education in a lot of ways, we're never going to all agree.
No.
Which, ironically, with my group of people, that's a lot of why we like working together. Because it makes us each think differently about stuff. But that's because we know how to respect one another's opinions. So
Right.
it works for us.
Evidently, that's something a lot of people can't do on YouTube, because some of these people really go at each other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got time for. I got all the time in the world, but I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to say I've never called anyone out, but with the exception of one person that came in my chat and was just relentless after having issues for over a year, I still try and just like, I don't know, make light of the situation. Because at the end of the day, I just don't care.
Hi, Kels.
I mean, it would be a very boring world, never silent.
That's something. Dave, have you subbed up to chaotic? Because she doesn't put anything pretty much out but facts.
I mean, if we all thought exactly the same way, what would we even have to talk about?
Right. I just think we should all smoke weed, and then everybody will be in a better place.
Well, I'm good on that, but
I'm serious.
but you smoke away. I'll have a drink here and there. It's fine.
Yes, I vaguely did. I don't know what's going on. She actually texted me for New Year's and told me Happy New Year's, and I hadn't talked to her in a hot minute. And yeah, that was surprising. And then I heard about the accident. I haven't heard anything else. Did anything happen during the day? That was this morning. We would talk about the future.
But how would we even have a conversation about that if we all think the same? That's what my point is. Like, there would be nothing to talk about. We would already have those thoughts. It would just be
But
like,
when you get high on weed, you just start talking about whatever.
are we just going to start complimenting each other because we think the same? That would be what was left for a conversation to have. I don't know.
I said, Never Silent is never gonna. Dude, stop it, okay?
That's because she got high.
Oh, me?
Yeah, that's why you forgot to hit send.
No, I forgot to write the whole email, Chaotic. I didn't forget to hit send. I forgot to write the whole damn thing.
Well, that makes it worse.
I
Maybe she fell
know.
asleep.
Okay, Kels, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be on for, but I want to know about that. Oh my god, dude. I know you know Michelle, right?
No.
Michelle Sabate.
No. I've heard of her, but I don't pay attention to any of that.
When I was a mod for her, another mod for her was Toastgate. And apparently she got into a really, really bad accident. They had to sedate her and everything. And then they had problems getting her out of sedation. But anyway, Michelle, obviously, Kels just said Michelle sent her a horrible text message in the hospital. Probably like die bitch or something like that. Knowing Michelle. Oh my God. Oh, they too much. Too much. Like Michelle even said she wants Molly's mom to die.
Oh,
She's in ICU.
That's real lovely. I will be right back. I gotta go grab something.
Hi, everyone in here. Kels, I definitely need you to talk to me. It does. It does. But you know what? Like, I really can't take the call-ins. They aggravate me sometimes. Thank you. She was in a really bad accident. A tow truck driver, I think it was, T-boned her crossing an intersection, and she was in really bad shape. And I heard they had to sedate her for something. I know she was in surgery for 4 hours. I think I heard, and now I hear she's in ICU. So no way. Wow. Okay, yes, please email me. You have my email address. Thank you. This is sickening, dude. That's why I can't deal with these people. How can you be that cruel? Thanks, Kels. Have a good night. Yeah, but you don't text someone who's in the hospital literally on her, if she's in ICU, she's in really bad shape. You don't text someone and tell her, this is your karma for leaving me.
I'm back.
That's like me texting Chaotic and being like, this is your karma for not supporting me. It's basically what Michelle just told Toastgate in a text message.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna go to bed, and I was sitting here paying bills, so that I, could hopefully sleep in tomorrow. And I like looked over, and I seen you had went live, and then when I checked it, you were reading it. So I was like, oh, I'll just go back to it. And then I got done paying bills, and I was like, should I go to bed? And I know I probably should have went to bed, but I told you that I would come up here, so.
I'm glad you did, because I like to hear, like I told you, I like to hear different opinions and, how people feel on the situation, because you know me, I get confused so easily, and then I get like in my head with different things, and that's why I'm like back and forth with Dylan. I don't know. So I'm not gonna
I mean,
I'm
we
not
checked
gonna
on it a little bit earlier when I did my other live on it with Incom on her channel. But we didn't go like real deep into it. But we did hit on some other like interesting things on there. If you want to watch it, it's I shared it on my community post, so. And it's not like a super long live either. I think it was like a little over an hour.
I think I'm sub to her channel. I think I did see her go live, but I didn't realize that was who you go live with, I think, and I was watching something else, so I didn't check it. Thanks, Squirrel.
Yeah, me and her, we used to work together all the time, and then she took a break from YouTube. So we're going to pick up this year on what we had been planning on doing before her break and start a podcast and do some other projects together. So.
Oh, that's really cool. That's going to be fun to watch.
I have way too many projects I think I took on this year, but I'll make it work.
Hit the thumbs up. Nobody likes to hit the thumbs up for me. It's just a dang on button. Just hit it. Like, it ain't gonna hurt you, and it's gonna help me. So just do it, like Nike says. All right, thanks for coming up, Chaotic. I think I need to go to bed now. I didn't expect to go live either. That's why it was later than I would have gone when Jimbo got off. But
Alrighty.
then Amy and I was bored, so I was like, let's go read it and talk about it.
Yeah, I just couldn't sit through listening to someone read it again. I was like, absolutely not.
I know, but I didn't really read it myself. I always just heard it. And I feel like when we just read it just now, like I kind of comprehended a lot more than just hearing it from, because some people, probably me too, yeah, feel that way about me when I read something, but a lot of times it's hard to hear somebody reading something. Like they'll make a sound with their mouth, or like that irritates me.
Yeah, I always like read it for myself. And I'll listen to like one or two videos. I prefer the ones if they're gonna read it, they like take breaks and discuss certain aspects of it. But if they just read like the whole thing, I'm like, I can't. Like
What
when me and
if
Inka did our video, we didn't even read it at all. Like we didn't. I was like, no, we're not doing this.
Yes, y'all pray for Choskate, guys. I just said I was going to bed, and 3.Dave says drop StreamYard link.
Hello?
Hello.
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody?
Going to bed.
I like pump a little adrenaline. How you guys doing?
We're tired.
Yeah, I get you. I just wanted to say hello.
I mean, I'm not
Typing
even
sucks.
tired. I'm not even tired yet. I just am at that point of like wanting to be all cozy in my bed. That's where I'm at in life. I'm like, let me go find
with you.
something real intriguing to watch and be cozy in my bed. And then after that, I'm gonna find something really boring to watch so I fall asleep.
What have you been watching?
I kind of like bounce around some nights I'll try and find like new channels that I've never, like if they're live and I've never watched them before. A lot of those typically put me to sleep because I mean, most people in the middle of the night don't talk about anything super intriguing. So, and then I try and stay away from anything that has multiple episodes because I will binge watch it.
Right, me too. Have you done a like Game of Thrones?
Oh, absolutely not.
No. Oh my God, start that shit.
No, that would put me.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, it's a like constant cliffhanger. Awesome. There's so many like binge-worthy things out there.
Yeah, but I just like things that are serial killer and horror movie and
Serial killer.
What else do I watch? Wednesday Addams.
Did you watch Dahmer?
I did.
Did you like it?
It wasn't bad. It was better than I thought it was going to be for sure.
Yeah, it kind of sucked at the first like 3 episodes, but then it kind of like hooked you in, you know?
Yeah. And that's what there was a couple of my friends that were like, I can't watch this. And I'm like, what episode are you on? They're like 1. And I was like, no, just force yourself through.
Yeah, exactly.
And you will love it after that.
So right. Well, I don't know if I really want to touch bases on all this. It just seems strange to me that it just seems like an information dump like that just seems to me sketchy. It just seems strange. Doesn't seem like an LE thing to do, you know?
I think it's because a lot of times we don't see the probable cause in most, like we only see it in big cases.
Right. I guess we haven't like seen murder cases like this.
And
it's all these missing children and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of times, like other than like big serial killers and stuff like this, they don't normally do a nighttime warrant. So it is a little different than a lot of
it just feels like it should have been hush hush. I mean, it just seems like we should like be getting like nothing to me. That's what it feels like, what should happen. And for this narrative, it's almost like a story. It just seems so odd. It just really took me back about how they could actually like who's writing this narrative, who's taking down these notes. It's like they're taking like interviews with people and possibly putting it out there. I mean, the survivors are really put in a position. It just doesn't seem law enforcement like to me, you know?
Well, I think the only reason they put the survivors out is because people already knew who they were. So, but like some of the other stuff, I don't think it's going to make or break the case. Because
just
I think there
doesn't
is
seem like
still a lot that they held back. Like I think there's a lot. I do think there's a few things in there that could have been left out or was kind of twisted a little bit. Like they're alluding to stalking, right? But we're talking about an extremely small town. So it could go both ways because we don't know where the cell towers are. We don't know what tower he was peeing off of, if he was actually central, if he was actually on top of the house. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things with that. But at the same time, I could see it being a stalking aspect because I do believe he was trying to mimic Bundy. So he would have picked a location like that and he would have wanted to learn their routine. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, and I think a lot of the stuff in there is kind of that way where it could go both ways. And then there's also probably a lot that they left out. Because
And you don't think that they should have just kept it all hush hush and just talked personally with the judge and had the probable cause like go in there? I mean, it just seems like there's so much on him. It just seems like it didn't need this like storyboard.
If it wasn't a high profile case, it would have been hush hush because nobody would have been asking. But legally, they cannot keep it sealed. They could have tried to, but it just would have went to a court hearing and would have got opened anyways because legally they can't do it. They just tried that in the Delphi case and it got released. So it's just one of those situations where, you know, a lot of time, you know, because like the victims in Delphi, for example, the parents did not want it to be released, but legally they couldn't keep it sealed. So I think it was like a 10-day waiting period before it went to court once it was sealed. But after that 10 days, like there was nothing they could do. It had to be released to the public.
So maybe their case is flimsy.
I think they have a good case. I just also think that there's a lot of ways to. I think it's going to be a long trial. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth.
Like the Lori Vallow case in Idaho.
There's going to be a lot of continuances.
A lot of motions.
Yeah.
Definitely going to motion no cameras in the courtroom, unless that's already standard since they're not showing it now. That might be standard for Idaho, but I don't know because it was going to be on, you know, live streamed or whatever you call it with cameras in the courtroom until
they're still saying that there will be cameras. They just aren't saying if they're going to allow it to be live or if it's going to have to be shown after.
Oh, I thought we wasn't going to be able to see it at all.
Oh, are you talking about Lori's or this one?
Yeah, Lori's.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I lost interest in that a while back because it just drug out for so long that I quit even following any of the updates.
It did. I just want to see I really wanted to see the reactions in the trial between her and Chad, you know, with them going to trial together and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But 3.Dave, wanted you to come up a long time ago and you told me you couldn't because you was tired.
Yeah, I am like I'm sagging. I'm with Chaos. I am like ready for that comfy ass bed.
Me too.
I've been watching this shit all day and I'm just like I just can't wrap my head around the narrative. I'm just like it just seems like it's designed for controversy, you know? Like,
they have to do it this way because they're going to put a man to death. They have to make sure that they have everything in order for this jury to have no reasonable doubt.
so
he's just going to sit on death row for the rest of his life because although they have the death sentence, they don't actually have the ways to follow through with it.
And you know what? When my ex-boyfriend was in prison, I did a lot of research on things and, you know, with the laws and everything. And the reason why the states have not executed anyone in a long time is they blame it on it's too expensive.
So bullshit. Pull out the guillotine.
Well, like for the
that shit's cheap as hell.
Well, you have to have the medical team. you have to, I know they don't have anybody on staff that can execute someone probably, but they have to have a whole medical team. Then they have their team, and then they have to get whatever they use, injection or gas or whatever they use.
It
They
sounds like politics.
and I'm just telling you the reason why they're saying that they don't execute anymore.
Yeah, no, I've heard that that the execution costs more than like keeping somebody for life. It's such bullshit, dude. Put him on the stake and put a bunch of people out there with the guns and just nuke his ass.
I don't know. Can you even do that anymore?
No,
No.
because they got sued.
Hell yeah, you can.
They got sued for it not being. Basically, they have to make it as painless as possible these days.
That's a guillotine.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're going to find too many witnesses in the world these days that want to watch that, and they have to have witnesses. So,
Yeah, as is life.
we live in a world of
But it's hella cheap.
feeling sorry for people and not just thinking
I
about-
don't agree with actually like killing people. Actually, I mean, if I really like dig down deep, I like this that the creeps get to suffer. When you see these people like in these when they're talking about like their life is over, they'd rather die. I mean, that's basically what they say when they're like, "Oh man, I'm screwed. I'm gonna be in life prison. I want to just like die." So yeah, they let them suffer their life, expectancy out, and then go to hell. And that's kind of where I'm at in general.
I mean, I think he'll definitely be suffering because although they're catering to his vegan diet, I highly doubt he's getting his own dishes for one, and I'm 99.9% sure he's a germaphobe, and I've never seen a clean prison. So
Yeah, that's the whole thing about he can't eat like his vegetables from like pans that have had meat in them. That's just, dude, so odd. I don't know. It's just he's a
Good
weird
night,
dude,
October
man.
50, baby. All right, guys, I have to end this. I am tired. It's been 2 hours, so next time.
All right.
come
Well,
in-
I just want to say I don't believe he acted alone. I think there's co-conspirators, and he's probably gonna narc them off, and this is gonna become way bigger, and he's gonna have the platform to like get what he wants. Is basically a stage. So that's what I believe.
I believe you've been watching too much Dolly Vision.
I am like the core of Dolly Vision.
I know. That's why I said that. Have a good night. babe.
So I'm not watching him; he's watching me.
So that means.
All right, everybody. Peace. Have a great night. Sleep well.
Thanks, Chaotic, for coming up and have a good
Yeah,
night.
chaotic.
You too.
When I, so you're what's your title? Chaotic what?
beauty and crime.
Chaotic beauty and crime. I will search it out right now and sub you up.
You want
Right
to can you drop your link real quick in the chat?
Yeah, do that.
I can't, but who's in here?
Hold on,
that's
I'll
on?
do it.
I
But
think
that's your name? Chaotic beauty and crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll search it right now. I got you.
All right, right on.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Late.
All right. See you later. All right, Chaotic. I'm
All right.
ending.
Have a good night.
Tomorrow. You too. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, everybody. Have a great the rest of your morning.